Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diplomacy Timing Window, where the rules are discussed and our opinions don't matter. My name is the Half Herd.
I'm Hungry Hippos.
I'm Kazadoom.
And on today's episode, we're going to take a look at the new updates 1.13 and 1.14 and take a trip down memory lane to Hippos, Kazas, and mine's first game together in the Twilight Wars app. I remember it like it was yesterday.
How well did you do?
Well, I think we all kind of did pretty well. We're not going to give any spoilers yet, but one of us did win. So,
it was
congratulations to
one,
the
yeah.
winner. And I guess before we get into it, we'll just quickly kind of touch on the other features in these two updates. Namely that in 1.13, we got that optimized timing window for integrated economy. Yes.
Yeah, it's so good. We now don't have to run the full round of confirmations from everybody when you use integrated economy.
Thank God for that. I played Space Kitties and I got integrated economy round 1 and it was torture thereafter.
I have it in one of my games and I did it earlier today actually, and it worked and it just got through my turn and it was great. I was pretty happy for it.
I mean, those devs know where to go to make the game more pleasant.
Yeah, I had a game with an Australian, a European, and me being US East. And this integrated economy stuff took 2 days to resolve. So yeah,
I guess that's why people ask.
Yeah.
And then the other
for
update,
similar time zones.
Yeah. And then the other update was some addition of some extra agenda cards, namely the 4 research team agendas. And that's good because we're getting ever closer to getting all base game components integrated, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a bunch of cards, but honestly, I don't care about them at all.
Oh.
They just dilute the deck more.
It does help. It dilutes it a bit, but to be honest, it does help with those the tech specialty objectives. Because let's be honest, that 5 tech planet objective on the stage 2 public, where you have to get 5 tech planets in a 6-player game is just, it's impossible.
I've never seen.
So I think now with these cards, it might actually become a little more feasible.
See, I completely forgot about that. Playing Prophecy of Kings several times, these just so naturally go into the research deck that I didn't even consider them to be to work like this. Yeah,
no, I think now it's going to make, you got to remember in the scope of the base game, I think it is kind of important for that aspect.
That's true, but there's still 4 out of max of 50 cards, so
yeah, exactly.
They're not that grand. But yeah,
I think it's just nice to see new, more components added.
That's closer to being finished. That's great.
As games progress, I do notice that the cards that come up often come up a little too often.
Yeah,
come up a little too often.
Sabotage, economic. What's the thing where you get down
economic
to 5?
Equality?
Economic equality happens all the time.
All the time, definitely.
Swords to plowshares.
I mean, I have 2 direct hits waiting in one of my decks right now. I don't know when I'm going to use them.
See, and the last edition was that you can now make games public, which is really nice. I tried it. I got a link from someone and was able to watch what they were doing. I mean,
I haven't tried it yet.
You don't see the chat, but you can follow what's going on. You see the log. I mean, it might be a bit disconnected sometimes because you just see the log and the game state at the moment. But it's nice to see and to maybe publicize your games.
Yep, and I think it's nice for live games if people are playing live, right? And you can have someone kind of watching. And we'll get into it a bit at the end of this video, but I think there's ideas in the works for what that's gonna foreshadow.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then in 1.13, we also had, it's in a similar vein, it's a similar feature, but for viewing your completed games, you can go back and check the logs, and you get into that spectator mode, and you can go through your completed games.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we wanted to focus on today. Is we wanted to take everybody through our first ever game together on this app, and you know, and we'll tear it apart a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can reveal our greatest blunders and a few successes, but anytime something of genius might show up, be assured it's completely by accident.
Completely by accident. It's completely intended, I mean. Haha. Haha.
I got you. There was one time, though, that we did vote very strategically to the detriment of SAR. Something to do with wormholes not working anymore.
I don't even think it mattered too much. It just forced him to do something that he wanted to do anyway.
But without the ability to back up his forces. That's true.
It at least stopped. But let's get into that later. I think if we review
let's bring it up, Hippos.
Yes.
All right. So here's a lot of people to complete the games, and spoilers are now finished. Kaza won.
He did it.
With Lizix. I got the Shaw Kingdom and Halford, the Astral Tribes. And then there's a significant drop-off in victory points on the lower end. But we played with them all, and they're all still very good players.
And let's give a shout-out to our other competitors there, Korn, Mr. Gandhi, and Ghosts of Q. And, you know, I want to just take a moment to graciously announce that I came up with a fantastic game title for this one.
Oh yes, I got to go back for that.
The Shart of the Throne. An homage, you could say, to that agenda that we don't have yet. So
maybe one day. Sorry for skipping towards that too quickly.
That's okay. So starting with setup, I guess this was a build map, and a couple things I
to 10 victory points
here. This is a 10 victory point, 6-player game build map, and
we had our first exchange without words. We just placed asteroid fields, and then I got the response from Hippos with the empty space.
Yeah, before the game even started, Hippos placed the asteroid right in front of Kaza there.
No, I think it was right in front of
right in front of me.
I placed the asteroid field, and I got the... Oh, no, you placed...
Yeah, I placed the asteroid field right in front of the Astral Tribes, knowing that Yastral
super annoyingly
never gets the first level blue text. So,
but Kaza, you had my back because you played the empty field, the empty space.
Oh yeah, I avenged you. You
avenged me.
But then everybody kind of made Mechatol an island.
Which I was okay with. I never once took Mechatol.
Empty space around it, and
it was an abandoned Mechatol before abandoned Mechatol was a thing.
Yeah,
there you go.
I mean, one thing of note, I think, in this map is that I felt like I got the worst slice.
I mean, let's zoom in to Kaza's slice.
I mean, Lizix never has a bad slice, so
it's 5. You got a 5-star system. It's probably one of the better start systems.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you look at the richness of other planets,
right?
Yeah. But if you look at the richness of other systems, I mean,
I have to admit, my slice was really good.
Slice.
Yeah, that's a pretty good Shaw slice over there.
Joel's slice is pretty bad.
My shell was nice and strong. Let's go over to the SAR. They
you can toggle the ships off if you want to just take a look at the systems there.
They had a bad slice as well because they couldn't really do double expand. They couldn't get 2 planets for a token.
Yeah.
In that regard, they also were pretty stifled in the early game.
I couldn't complain with mine.
No, that's pretty good. Got some Abyss and Freya.
Yeah, and with good starting influence as Yisrael, you know, having resources in abundance right around was
a good balance.
But it feels like we're like in this, the 2 tiles that were left out are really high resource tiles. Right? Do we have Starpoint? Starpoint is missing.
Yes.
And another high resource tile is missing as well.
I don't.
Bereg?
No, I have Bereg and Litra.
So they're so bad. Okay, no, then it's only one of the.
Yeah, it's just a Starpoint one.
Star point missing. Okay.
So game proceeded after balance was achieved and island status was made.
Turn 1 was not too exciting. Turn 2, there was a pretty interesting play where Ghosts playing the Tsar tried to make a run at Mechatol with a flank speed, and it was immediately sabotaged by the universities. That was a real kick in the pants.
Universities do like getting to Mechatol first.
Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't make Mechatol first. It just paved the way for our good friend Kaza.
Yeah, because I, for some reason, got technology twice in the first and the second round. First round is the 4th pick, which baffled me because in our playgroups, technology is usually first pick. No questions asked. And I could get my Cruiser 2 and my Sarvine tools, which is basically the only research I did all game.
It is interesting, though, thinking that tech is normally picked first. You look at the first 2 to 3 objectives, getting the 3 command tokens or tactic tokens and strategy tokens, leadership becomes very valuable as the first choice.
Well, and it kind of makes sense. The first pick in the first round was warfare, followed by leadership. So
yeah. It's just like for us in our group, we always had, and that's something, if you play with a lot of different people, you see different things, and it shapes your game quite a bit of what your preconceived notions are from what you do in your groups and what works there. So that's something I learned. The technology is very overvalued in our group, I guess.
Yeah, I typically only pick technology somewhat towards the first round if I'm a high resource situation, like the Barony, I think, is the only one who can actually take, or the Lizix, who can take almost full control of the primary of technology. Otherwise, it's I'd rather just do the secondary and fulfill some other objective somewhere, or getting more planets at the beginning.
So but for me, that technology actually allowed me to get Cruiser 2 and then grab Mechatol.
Which is an interesting way to go down for Lizix. I mean, for me, I like getting to their faction tech as quickly as possible so I can start making whatever I want.
Yeah, but I felt like I wouldn't have the resources to do much anyway, so I might as well just go for the cheap.
Actually, if you open the player tab, Hippos, we can probably see his tech tree.
What tree?
There you go. See, he got in turn 2. That is what he had. Turn 1 got Neural and Plasma. Turn 2, Sarween and Cruiser 2. And talk about cruising on a Cruiser 2. 2 victory. Unbelievable.
I suppose in a 10-point game, you don't need to research too much.
But as far as winning strategies go, that's that's one for the record books, I think.
It comes down to, there was no research
objectives. Yeah, you lucked out on that really well.
And then even if there's research objectives, I could have gone there probably. Just would have had to invest into them.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
2 in 4 colors is basically off limits anyway most of the time for me. I don't bother with that.
You're lucky for sure that the objectives were not tech-based. I'm in one of my games, I'm Necro, and 2 of the first 3 objectives were tech-based. I'm like, what?
Yes. Yep. That's happened to me in one of my Necro games too.
So this is actually pretty interesting for a Lizix model. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I've never gone that route before, but maybe that's why I'm not winning games.
I mean, one thing, and that's what I was banking on, is with movement 3 on Mechatol, if there's one dock anywhere that's undefended, I could have snagged it.
That's true. Lizix does
that was the idea, because then you can snowball from there, but nobody ever did that. So and also, I mean, the thing was, I never made any enemies in this game. I never battled anyone. I never intruded upon anyone's space. I was just a benevolent cyborg.
I did try to get Jolnar to go after you when you finally had an opening, because it became very apparent that you were winning. And so I saw Sardak, we persuaded him to go after you. I was like, Joel, I will give you things, not attack you at all. Commit to Elizabeth's home system.
But the one thing you don't see here is after Jolnar sabotaged Sar's flank speed and denied him Mechatol, giving Kaza the free path to Mechatol, Sar went through the Lodor Alpha into
this wormhole here, came out over here with I mean, the fleet's not here, but there was some flagships, there was some carriers, a bunch of fighters and infantry,
and he was just going to go ham on Jolnar's slice.
Yeah.
But then the great thing is, so now this is at the end of turn 2. We have our first agenda phase, and immediately what comes up? You want to pull up the active laws there, Hippos?
Sure.
Or click logs.
The logs.
No, laws. Not active. Laws.
Oh, there we go.
The travel ban.
Immediately stranding Sar with the majority of his fleet on the other side of the galaxy. Just terrible luck. Just terrible.
Except half of us saw that and we're like, yeah, let's do that.
Oh yeah. There was no mercy. Definitely. I felt a little bad, but I definitely still voted for.
To be honest, this was pre-elimination, so he was actually pretty close to being eliminated without eliminating being in the game.
Yes. And you know what? Between Yasseril or Hafford and myself, we definitely benefited the most from having Sar do that.
I benefited greatly from that as well.
Unfortunately, that was an unforeseen benefit that I didn't.
That's the thing. Sar or Jolnar was way too busy trying to deal with Sar. Because the next thing was we're into round 3 and Sar takes warfare again, and it was just battles in Jolnar's slice, starting at Melon, and then warfaring into kept going at him.
He warfared and he had an unexpected action as well. I think there was some slight things that he could have done differently. He might have had a chance to get rid of Jolnar in this round. He might have been able to eliminate him. But
perhaps.
The thing is, and that showed me for the first time how crazy good ERAS Siphon is. This tech gives you so much cash to fight back against anything coming out your way.
Yeah, but he got really aggressive. I mean, choosing warfare is an ideal card for Sar, but round 2 was the only time he scored an objective.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, I think a little bit more diplomacy on his side, not the card, but an actual in-person diplomacy probably would have benefited him greatly.
Yeah. And again, my luck, I got Imperial this round with 2 trade goods.
Yeah, so you score that Imperial point because I don't think anybody took mech from you there. And so by this point, I think you're already at 5 points because you got 1 for taking mech, you got Imperial, you've scored at least 2 objectives at this point. So you're at 4 or 5.
I don't think I actually scored an objective with Imperial because I didn't have any to score.
No, but you get the point is what
I think.
The 1 VP is what
I got the second VP and I scored, I think, either the 3 or the 5 trade goods.
Yeah. But then here's, in my opinion, the TSN tournament.
Influence scored this with the first Imperial.
Right.
Yes.
It influenced,
Yeah, because you had that.
Yeah. And then the lead from the front.
Just so that the viewers can see, the only phase 2 objective that actually popped up was galvanize the people. Spend 6 tokens from your tactic or strategy pools.
Spoiler alert. Come on, man.
But I mean, you can see in a 10-player game, you don't even get a chance to get to all of these.
I have to say, I could have finished the game differently as well, but I was foiled. But we'll get to that later, I think.
I could have finished the game differently. I still had Imperial Arbiter to play, and I didn't get that chance. Anyway.
Well, I have to say, so we're at the end of round 3 now. And this, in my opinion, is the TSN turning point right here, because Prophecies of Ix comes up, and Sardak wants it bad, and he trades away his support for the throne to get Kaza's votes. And that to me was
I think we actually swapped it.
Not at that point.
We swapped ceasefires way before that.
You swapped ceasefires before, but he bought your votes for a support, which you then held to the bitter end. We'll get to that.
Yep. That is true. Yeah, and also like economic equality as the agenda that resolved, giving everybody 5 trade goods to score. The objective also helped.
The trade routes.
Yeah.
So then we get into round 4. Any questionable things here? Kaza, you get Imperial again. I got
Imperial again for some reason.
Good Lord.
For some stupid reason.
5th pick, Imperial.
Yeah.
I could call that a questionable decision making.
I mean, you chose leadership because you probably wanted to score the 3 token one eventually, but still your mark isn't up there.
Well, I think I just needed tokens because I probably hadn't had anything at that point.
I mean, in this situation, it's just incredibly good to have Mechatol. You can score the 8 influence, you can score the 3 tokens pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I got the 3 points. So.
And then so this is where Sardak tries to make a play. He starts going to the empty system between him and right beside.
So right here?
Right there.
Yeah, right there.
There was a pretty big fight there where he brought his flagship, Dreadnought carrier, a bunch of infantry and fighters. He's trying to make a move. And one of the funny parts of that battle was Kaza playing a direct hit on the Dreadnought, sustaining damage, sabotaged by Gandhi and the Sardak, followed by another direct hit.
Yeah. It's the most frustrating thing ever.
Another representation of the fact that some action cards came up a little too often in the early games of Twilight Wars.
Yeah, and there was another thing here. Gandhi actually did not sustain with his flagship. He skipped that window.
Yeah. Well, he might have been scared because of the original, how many direct hits he got in your pocket. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think after sabotage direct hit, I might be a little scared myself too. I don't know if I'd sustain that flagship.
What I remember from this battle was the chats going on right around this phase after Mohandas, again, Sardak, playing morale boost, and then getting only 1 hit. We just explained his fleet was bigger than what you see here. It had the flagship, it had 1 hit.
They were pretty evenly matched, but
so Sardak had morale boost, which means he had a +2 to all of his ships, and
with his flagship.
He was so exasperated in the chats. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah. But it's the betrayer thing. Whenever you betray a trust, it always backfires. And he was counting on me using the ceasefire, which I didn't because I thought there was more important stuff to use it for.
Are you suggesting karma?
Karma is a die roll
the
thing.
Randomness of the algorithm that is the dice roll.
I feel like whenever I break a contract, I roll so badly.
Huh. I don't know what to say to that. I usually have faith in the random, in the chaos.
I don't. I mean, I have faith in being faithful to contracts and not rolling badly.
Remember, everyone who plays with Kaza, he abides by deals, but he's smart.
The only deal that will be broken is the one that wins me the game.
Yeah, I have to say I really like this idea of karma playing a.
I had a few games where it just turned out like this, and it's like every time it's kind of laughing. It's like.
Yeah, I'm going to use that from now on
there for me.
To explain away all my poor decisions and dice rolling.
Yeah.
It's going to come to my rescue. Karma. It was karma.
Yep. Yeah, then we had this little exchange with the unstable planet, which got responded by Maggie.
Just another example of vengeance in this that was just ever present in this game. Kaza playing an unstable planet on me, immediately followed by Magion implants. I mean, it's just decision like doesn't even matter. I mean, I guess probably you were in the lead at that point, so playing Majon on you is probably the way to go regardless. But I think it was just a lot of moments of being just, you know, blackout shades shuddered to the mistress of vengeance.
Yeah. Yeah, but then there's like the next huge move was even though I had the support for the throne of Gandhi, of Sardak Noor in the north, he left Arena Mare completely undefended with no units. So I was able to sneak in 2 cruisers with infantry. So I could finally score my 6 non-home systems.
Yeah, good old first objective.
Which, funnily enough, I forgot about that. I traded the support for the throne to Gandhi at 2 p.m. 2:10, and at 2:18 he activated the system using it. Like 8 minutes between giving him a support and losing it. Which I then
thank you. Now take it back.
Which I ceasefired.
Yeah.
Just insult, just layering insult upon insult.
That was funny. Goodness. I remember seeing that after coming back and looking at the logs, like, what? Wow, you just got screwed.
Yep.
And one part I want to kind of highlight here that happened around this time, which no one really knew because this was all in my own head. I had repeal law at this time, and I was waiting for the perfect opportunity. At this point, I think I had a fleet kind of sitting in Lodor, and I was waiting for the perfect moment for everybody to pass. And then I was just going to go all out through the war repeal law, right? I got Terra Plasteel, whatever you call that. Transparasteel, thank you. And I was just I had action cards. I was ready to go straight for the Lizix home.
Yeah, and I remember you and I kind of coordinating on that because we also had to deal with SAR.
Yeah, and then the most, just the worst thing that could have happened. Jolnar put a lonely destroyer for no reason.
Silly thing here.
He wanted to be safe
into an empty. He did it. Yeah, he was trying to just walk you off.
That was around the same time I was trying to persuade Jolnar to go after you.
But honestly, if he hadn't done it, I would have placed something in there. So we talked about it as well as like, we want to like clock that up just in case.
You guys ruined everything because I had this master plan. You don't even know. I was so ready for it.
And it's cool, good to know because I didn't see that at all. Like, no way.
Yeah, I was very sad.
But instead, you did something which was obviously at this point something that bothered me a bit.
This was my backup vengeance.
Because if you look at the objectives, I mean, I scored the 6 tokens later on, but my plan was actually to score the 6 planets in non-home systems and then the 8 resources to get to the finish line. That was my strategy, not relying on the second objective. That's why I also grabbed the...
So what went wrong?
Well, I have this nice system. I used the ceasefire to prevent Sardak Noor from grabbing it. And then there's a counterstroke after my dear Israel tribe friend activates the system.
Yep, I got a nice trade. I got him to give me some trade goods, and I activated his system so he could play counterstroke, and we call that the counterstroke play.
Yes, I've never seen a counterstroke actually used by the player that was attacked and had a token in the system. It's always somebody else on the board that could never get there, tossing a token in to unlock the system.
Yep.
Maybe that's what I'm doing a little too roughly. I wait for counterstroke for the right time, and it never happens, unfortunately.
But it's such a it's a cool card, but it doesn't work. It doesn't play the way it is intended to work. Let's put it like this.
99% of the time, it's not working the way you want it to work.
Yes. Yeah, and then I mean, my 2 cruisers died meaninglessly, And bombardment by Sardauknor is also pretty devastating and cleared the planets. And I was back to 5 planets again.
And then I followed that up swiftly with Mechatol, with some cripple defense on your PDS, and then flank speeding most of my fleet over, cruiser, carrier, 2 dreadnoughts, and then just taking that away. But I think by this point, you were still able to score, negotiate trade routes that turn.
Yeah, because of the 5 trade goods.
Yeah. Your system, I think I remember at that time, was not looking very well defended, but
but then
somehow you were able to get enough ships into your home system that it didn't matter anyway.
I mean, I had everything clogged up all the time, so you would have need light wave to get through to begin with.
And to make it even worse was Swords to Plowshares came up that agenda, and for some reason everybody voted for, and we lost all our infantry. So taking planets when you don't have infantry.
But there, I mean, I'm not even mad about either choice, because either you give me infantry on my home planet that had like 5 or 6 by then, and the PDS.
Yeah.
Or you give me more infantry that can pull back to my home planet. So it's damned if you
did have a little bit of a heart attack in the last round, though, because we didn't have a lot of action cards in this game. So we actually just reshuffled the deck at this point. And with the last politics pick, you got cripple defense on your home system come up. Joel Nar chipping in there.
So, but there was a lot more going on because Sardauknor started going for me and went to the lower Arnor system. I retreated from that, and he, I think, unexpected actioned.
Oh yes, that's why he has tokens in the system.
And I mean, I barely could pull it out there.
Yeah, it was quite the epic battle.
Yeah, it was pretty close one. Then I could build again, and for some reason I decided to build a ton of infantry, not realizing that the Israel tribes had the bioweapon, and I didn't have a PDS anymore.
X89.
9 infantry in your home system.
I could have just built fighters and saved myself the much sweat.
Unfortunately, I just couldn't pull off. I think I needed a combination of like unexpected action and flank speed, or in the silence of space, and I just didn't have the right combination of cards to pull it off.
It was right around that time you were asking me what I had in my deck so you can Magi on me.
One last bit of...
But you would have needed 2 Magians, right, that round to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I did pull off one last bit of vengeance. Me and Hippos, to pad our stats at the end, decided to swap supports, and I immediately Magi on him after we did that. So
yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was so pissed. So I went and tried to take some more of your stuff.
That's where I was surprised how high up you were in terms of points, because I didn't have it on the radar that you could go up to 9.
Well, we are guilty. We padded our stats a bit there with that support swap at the end. That was my idea. I'll take the shame on that one. Said, let's pad our stats. Support swap. That's it. Kaza won the game, and he got his little trophy, and all's well that ends well.
Yeah, in the end, I was lucky to get the support for the throne and the 3 points of Mechatol, so I could with a few objectives get there.
Well done.
Get to the 10. Yep. It was a good game. It was the first game that I ever finished, actually, which was great as well.
Nice.
So one last thing before we sign off, I guess, is I wanted to just throw in a little Easter egg here. We've played insider information action card on the devs, and we wanted to share with everyone that the rumored Twilight Wars tournament is gearing to take off soon. And we've been talking to Buttons and Serial Guy, and we've been given a blessing to use these new viewer mode features to broadcast some tournament games. So, stay tuned for any updates coming out, and I think that's going to be pretty exciting.
Oh,
you guys looking forward to that?
I'm excited to point out people's flaws, make fun of them from the background.
Oh yeah, let's get our chirping going.
No, I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, I don't know how much time I will have, because I think it's planned to be live games and not asynchronous. So it will be harder.
We'll have to see how the schedule
to free up the time, but
we should definitely try to do one live, perhaps the final game. But we could review like we did today some of the tournament games, the ones that seem interesting, and
do like some fancy graphics.
Yes. we'll edit it all together with some stuffs.
Yeah, but it should be fun, and we're looking forward to it. So
absolutely,
stay tuned. Well, I think we've spent enough time stalling in this timing window, so let's hit that pass button and keep the game moving.
Twilight Imperium 4th Edition is a game of galactic conquest and diplomacy with fans around the world. It was designed by Dane Beltrami, Corey Konieczka, and Christian Peterson, with art by Scott Schomburg, and published by Fantasy Flight Games. Please support the official release and your local game store by purchasing a personal copy. For those of you who want to enjoy Fantasy Flight's games online or on mobile in asynchronous or synchronous play, which, let's face it, is the only type of gaming we can do these days, please check out and support the Twilight Wars app. All links are in the description below.